Strategy for Crisis Management. Understanding the War Against Coronavirus by Monhar Shrestha. There's a story about the boy who cried wolf. We all know it. Once upon a time, there was this boy who was in a forest, and he was the shepherd of many sheep, and then he just wanted to have fun, and he just cried, "Wolf, wolf, wolf, help, help!" And everybody from the village came to help him. Then they realized that there was no wolf, so they scolded the boy. And the next day, the boy again cried, "Wolf, wolf, wolf!" And again, everybody came, but there was no wolf. On the third day, the boy was shepherding as usual, and there was a wolf that really came. And he again cried, "Wolf, wolf, wolf, help!" But nobody came. And the wolf ate all the sheep. Then finally the villagers came and they said, "You cried wolf, wolf for when there was no wolf, and we didn't come when there was actual wolf. So this is the lesson to be learned." Now this story has got a lot of relevance in understanding the strategy to deal with the crisis of the coronavirus, which I'm going to explain henceforth. Objective of this video: to understand the framework within which the current reaction to contain coronavirus is being taken, to make the viewer realize that the steps being taken are logical and standard operating procedure for strategic crisis management, to help the viewer use this framework in the other phase of his life. 4 stages of crisis management: crisis, test, results, and reaction. Various types of crisis exist. They could be personal, business, social, economic, political. We could have personal crisis, health crisis, a marital crisis, educational crisis, career crisis. Business crisis could be business sales going down, profit going down, the industry is not working out. Social could be crime. Economic could be like recession. Political would be like instability. Various types of tests occur. At the individual level, there could be a blood test, health checkup, interviews. At the group level, there could be surveys, then behavior studies. At the organizational level, there could be various indicators like sales and profit. At the national level, there could be macroeconomic indicators like GDP and mortality rates. There are 4 types of test results that you've got to understand in order now to understand the strategy used to fight coronavirus. The first strategy is, let's start from the lower left quadrant, called the false negative. So the false negative, what it means, and the upper next followed going in the clockwise: false positive, true positive, true negative. Now the lower positive and negative refer to the outcome of the test. Now, for example, let's say that you tested for let's say in this current situation, you tested for a coronavirus test. Now, or you could have tested for another thing, like maybe you're having some symptoms of cancer, maybe, and you tested for that cancer, or maybe even there could be some symptoms of other diseases. So the test will either come positive or negative. This is a no-brainer. But the important thing now is, even if it's positive, negative, not all the tests are 100% true. So that is why we have a false and true in the above. So for example, let's take the case of false positive, the first one. Now, the false positive means that the test showed positive. Like, for example, a woman has tested positive in a pregnancy test that she did at home, urine test. So she thinks that she is pregnant, but later on she finds out that it is not true, and so that's called a false positive. Now, on the other hand, false negative means the lady thought that she was not pregnant. The test revealed that she was not pregnant, but after a few months, her belly swells, and she realized that it was a false negative. Same with the true positive. So in the true positive, the lady was pregnant, and the urine test indicated poison, and that was true. Then the third one, the next one is the true negative. She showed that it was not she was not pregnant, and she was really not pregnant later on. Now, in this type of results, the good scenario is the true positive and true negative. That's a good scenarios. But what we want to avoid in any crisis is a case of um, false negative and false positive, but we want to strictly avoid. So, for example, we thought that there was there was no disease. We thought it was a negative, but later on it turned out to be a major disease, so that would be the false negative. So we have to be most afraid of the false negative. But if it's for example, we thought it was a major disease and we acted upon it, but then later on it turned out to be nothing, then that's a false positive. These are both very sad events, but it is not going to be life devastating. Now, there are four types of reactions based on this force, based on the false positive and false negative. The first one is you'll underreact, and the other extreme is you'll overreact. Now, again, reaction will also again have every reaction has got side effects. Like in the case of the coronavirus, the side effects have been the economy, the social life, the freedom of being a citizen. So these are the side effects, negative side effects. Now, if you underreact, the lower quadrant, if you underreact and there is no negative side effects, then you're really lucky. But if you underreact and there are severe negative side effects, then that could be really, really trouble. And again, if they overreact and there are severe negative effects, that's also very sad. And finally, if they overreact and there's no side effect, then that's great. So the best scenario will always be optimal reaction, the middle one, optimal reaction and minimal negative side effects. So now the corona outbreak. Let's look what how it fails in this business, in this model. Crisis type, this is national level. Test, infected numbers and the mortality rate have been a test. Results, first it was false negative, right? We thought it wasn't such a big stuff. Then it turned out to be false. Later on it became a true positive. That's a really big problem. So the reaction has been so far optimal reaction, and hopefully with minimal side effects, the negative side effects. Alternate scenario based on the four types of reactions. Now, if we overreact, then we could destroy the total economy more, and we could be ending hoarding stuff, and people who need the most wouldn't be able to afford anything. And if we underreact, and there are severe negative consequences, like the virus could spread like wildfire. And there are few countries where the people are having what we call corona parties, just to they think it's basically a false positive. Still they think it's a false positive, when now we know that it's a true positive. So that should be very severe under reaction, and that will create a very negative side effects. But so we should not either overreact nor underreact. Conclusion so far. The various world governments have made the correct strategic management decisions to avoid this current crisis. The people too have cooperated. Both the reactions will result in the minimal possible negative side effects. Once the crisis is managed, we'll have to get the broken pieces of the economy and our lives back together. And just wanting to refer back to the story about the boy who cried, "Wolf, wolf, help." At the first, the boy crowd made a false positive, and the crowd overreacted, and later on the villagers didn't help him when it was the true positive. So the moral of the story I was trying to tell is currently we have moved from the stage of false negative to true positive. So let us all be aware, but again, let's not sway the boat so much. Let's not create so much havoc and panic that we'll find it so difficult to come back to our normal lives. Thus, let's not create severe negative side effects. Thank you very much.